Have you ever wondered how feminism has impacted academia? Well, it's a topic I consider because I have a master's degree from the University of California at Santa Barbara in East Asian religious studies. I learned Chinese, I learned classical Chinese, I studied abroad. I loved it. It was fascinating, and I'm a total nerd. Like, I lived in the East Asian Studies dictionary room. And I just found it fascinating to look up one character with 3 books. I'm that much of a nerd. So this is a topic for me. Anyway, I have noticed that academia, scientific research, things have changed, and I just did a quick dive into ChatGPT and realized that in the 70s, about 20% of the professors were women. Now it's half. Now, about 60% of college attendees are women and 40% are men. So, and I started to see some research coming out, like the American Psychology Institute, I forget exactly what it's called, did a whole research on how masculinity in and of itself is just toxic. And I'm like, do these women have any idea that the universe is a mirror, that we attract what we are? Do they have any idea how this is all, how reality really functions, that we live in a holographic universe? Do they read the laws of physics? Anyway, there's a video. We're going to deep dive. I'm going to let her talk and show how women will change the research to align with what they believe is right, as opposed to letting the research show them what's really going on. They don't like the outcome. Women won't feel good. Oh, let's bury that research. Like, there was research done on the outcomes of male mentors versus female mentors. Oh, the male mentors did far better, and they didn't publish that. I wonder why. 50% of women in academia. Oh no, we don't need it. No, that can't be right. It doesn't align with my feelings. But when we put women in their left brain, their logical brain all day long, and we expect them to be functional, we aren't expecting them to be women. We're going, oh, you're not a woman. You could just, be a man all day long and you'll be fine. And it won't come out differently. As if biologically we aren't different. But anyway, I'll get into that after the video. Let me pull this up and let's watch and see what she has to say, because she has a lot of fascinating insights into how academia abandoned evidence for ideology. That's the title of the video. It's great.
These people who were responsible for producing apparently, ostensibly objective research were themselves caught up in these family dramas. They were themselves becoming divorced. They were themselves having children who were becoming divorced. And they couldn't bear the disconnect between the objective reality and their own family situation. So they made the objective reality fit their subjective feelings.
That is not aligning with the fact that we live in a holographic universe, that the inside is projected externally for us to see ourselves as a constant feedback loop for self-improvement. And laws of physics clearly explain this, that we live in a holographic universe. But here we have women changing the outside to match their inside and how they feel, as opposed to understanding, oh, when the outside and the inside don't match, you got to change the inside. Changing the world is an inside job. I mean, Albert Einstein said it. The field is the sole governing agency of the particle. The field meaning the energy field. The particle meaning whatever it's controlling. In this situation, be the body. But the energy body, which physicists have proven that we have, that go out about 6 meters from our body, out of our heart, comes out of our heart, up and out, and then back into our heart. We can get in, I'll show a video on that, but that is mental illness. That's the classic mental illness, projecting your crap and then holding other people accountable for it. Is thinking that, if I change the external reality to match my internal reality, then I'm fine. No, 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 no. The field, the energy body, the energy field governs the particle. The inside controls the outside, not the other way around.
They twisted it. And I watched this happen. And I watched academics who were committed to the truth get denied grant funding because they said things which were unsayable about family breakdown.
Oh, that's just we just don't talk. We just, no, no, oh, no. We're just going to cancel that. Cancel culture. Yeah, well, I'm going to pull up Andrew Huberman, who's a neuroscientist, who talks about cancel culture. That is changing the outside to regulate the inside. But the outside shows you the inside. So if this is dysregulated, that means this is dysregulated. And canceling on the outside doesn't change the inside. Changing the inside changes the inside, and then the projection that goes outward then changes in a holographic universe.
And I found that there was an almost impossible task in elaborating upon these objective facts, this objective evidence, without immediately being accused of being horrible personally to people. I was set upon by people who said, how dare you call into question what I have done because I've done the best for my family. I've tried my best with my children. And I would say, I didn't even know you were divorced. I'm not making any aspersions about individuals.
Women have a natural proclivity to take things personally because women are we're designed to be the center of the family. We're designed to be the emotional center. So we're designed to speak our emotions and then have the men listen to that and then make decisions to respond. Okay? So if women are designed to be the emotional center, why are we asking them to be the logical lead? That doesn't make sense. It's not, women, we spend far more time on our brain making all these connections because we connect and men disconnect. So when we're connecting to all of our emotions and everything that we see, our nervous system is far more robust than men's nervous system. So we're designed to house the emotions. We're designed to be in our right brain, our emotions, our femininity, our creativity, our compassion, our nurturing, our intuition. That brings hormonal balance. Like study, right? But the study came through. Studies show that when the wife, and there's kids at home at night, the kids start crying, the wife immediately wakes up for the inside noise and the husband doesn't. But when the leaves rustle outside the house, like could be an invader, the man wakes up and the woman doesn't. Are either wrong? No, we are designed to be complementary. Okay? But when women can't hold themselves accountable, when they're so busy being perfect, like, yeah, I can be like a man. I can go out there. I can do all those things. And I can go home with my kids. And oh yeah, I can be two people at once, and I'm totally healthy and fine. Yeah, I attempted suicide because I tried to live that life. I know exactly that life, and it doesn't produce healthy children. It doesn't produce a healthy mother. It doesn't produce a healthy father. Hence, divorce.
Individuals cope the best they can with a variety of difficult circumstances. Many people who are divorced or who are bringing up children on their own do an absolutely magnificent job. They go to enormous and heroic efforts to protect their children. But nevertheless, it seems to me that these are situations of disadvantage. And isn't it better to try to avoid disadvantaging children wherever possible? In other words, we can't possibly entertain policy making which deliberately exposes children to disadvantage on the basis.
I mean, I just came across this question the other day, which is exactly what she's talking about. Do adults have a right to children, or do children have a right to adults? We talk about, the surrogacy. Let's talk about Khloe Kardashian and her surrogacy. What happened when she decided to hire a surrogate because she didn't want to get fat and pregnant? Oh, she didn't bond with the child. Oh, so her wants were more important than the child's needs. And she admits that child is not bonded to me. And I know what that's like because I almost died after my second child was born. And I went right back to work. I got bacterial pneumonia and spent 2 weeks in ICU on a ventilator. I was septic. Spent 5 days on 100% oxygen. Yes, I almost died. So my older daughter had a primal wound and we're still healing from it. She's 25. So when we have the perspective that adults were right and the children are just, subservient to us, then Children aren't cared for. When they have a job to support us, when we give them work, like sending them out to an ICE protest, telling them at 20 years old, go be a political activist. And when they barely know anything about the world, they haven't experienced the world. We're giving them a job of a 50-year-old when they're 20 and wondering what the problem is. But when you destroy the family, which feminists, that it's part of the National Organization of Women Charter, the destruction of the nuclear family, also queer theory, destruction of the nuclear family. But there's tons of scientific evidence that a healthy nuclear family is the bedrock of a stable society. And historically, that's true. You get sexual promiscuity, you lose boundaries, you lose society. Look at us. We're reestablishing society in America, but we got a lot of work to do.
Is that it makes their parents happy, because we should surely put our children first.
Right. Whose happiness is most important? Is it the adult's happy or the child? And I'm not saying let the child do whatever they want, but when the child has a right to an adult, then the child has a right to biological parents, has a right for adults not to make a decision to knowingly inflict a primal wound with surrogacy. Knowingly taking away one of the biological parents. Oh, well, two dads can do it. No. Women and men are different. That's a social constructionist theory that two men could be a mother and a father. Sure, do some kids turn out healthy? But in general, no, it's not healthy. Taking children away from the mother, especially in the first 3 years, and I'll bring up a video about that in a second, is very destructive to the child. I mean, right now, 40 to 60% of children do not have a secure attachment to self. That is a traumatic childhood. Same in adults. But when we don't see our children as the future and don't give them our best, a healthy mother and a healthy father, how can we expect to have a healthy country? Well, we can't, and that's the problem.
And when one's dealing with public policy, one has to deal with the reality as it affects the vast majority of people. That doesn't mean that you're not sympathetic to individuals going through these hard things. Well, those arguments went nowhere at all. The subjective ruled. My personal feelings trump the objective evidence.
And so that's lack of self-awareness, lack of healthy boundaries. And these are the professors at universities. So if the professors lack awareness, how are they teaching people how to think critically, which is a huge problem? I mean, the Gen Z workforce, they can't work on their own because they've been so indoctrinated. Think this way, trans is right, gay is right, the trans flag, this is wrong. Everything is subjective. Cancel culture, cancel everything outside of me that doesn't feel good. I mean, it's complete lack of understanding that we're souls having a human experience and how to become a healthy, mature adult. Indoctrination. That's an outside-in process, but we live in a holographic universe. See, it doesn't work.
And this was part and parcel of something that I only realized after many years, that what was happening was not confined to this very emotional issue of the family, which clearly had emotional ramifications because people were personally bound up with this issue.
And women leaving their children to have a job, I had a lot of fear, guilt, and shame over that. I was completely in my masculine, my feminine was shut down, and I was just in a bad mood and I had to work all the time. We're asking women to be men and then wondering what the problem is, why it doesn't come out in a healthy way. Logic is masculine, emotions are feminine. Not men experience emotions and women have logic, but for my body to be, for me to be a well-regulated female adult, I need to be a healthy feminine woman. And those are my maternal instincts come out, or my wife instincts come out, my healing instincts, my compassion, all of it.
What was happening was that the very idea of objective evidence was being cast aside because it was too inconvenient when it got in the way what people wanted, how they wanted to live their own lives. And as the years...
And so, I know I keep stopping, but when we place the brain over the heart, We don't acknowledge reality either. The electromagnetic field around the heart is 5,000 times stronger than the brain. The brain directs, the heart attracts. That's femininity, it's the heart. Okay. So the neurology in the heart is far more vast and complex than the brain, and the heart sends far more signals to the brain the other way around. Again, the feminine communicates her emotions to the masculine, and the masculine decides what to do. But when we put women up here, then we're naturally shoving men down there because we're opposites. And we're here to be complementary. So we don't understand the heart is a vortex. I'll share that in a minute. But the heart actually is a vortex. Like blood spirals in the fetus before a heart ever forms. Isn't that amazing? So the heart is not, outside, it's not a pump because it's like 60,000 miles of veins in each of our body. It's physiologically impossible, based on laws of physics, for a pump to do all of that. The blood spirals naturally. The field is the sole governing agency of the particle. So that spiral is the energy body.
As went on, it seemed to me that not only was evidence being cast aside, not only was apparently objective evidence by university researchers becoming subjective and warped and wrong and false, but the very idea of evidence was being overturned. The very idea of rationality and reason were being dismissed.
I mean, I would say that's clearly an authority wound. The liberal media, female protesters confronting ICE with a lethal weapon in their car, then getting killed. That's an authority wound. That's childhood trauma. And women take things personally because we're the emotional center. So we take it into our heart vortex and then it spins out because we live in a holographic universe. Women are the emotional center, and that's why we take things personally. So putting women in a situation where we're asking them to be logical all day long, that's female abuse. I mean, in a lot of ways, we had to bring this out. And how it usually works is so I love Carl Jung. So our shadow, our subconscious, when it first comes out and we kind of project it externally so that we can see ourselves for self-improvement opportunities, it comes out wounded. It does. It freaking does. Okay. So we're wounded. What's new? We all have wounds. No one's perfect. No soul is perfect. We all come here to grow and expand. So that's why we come to project our wound, see the problem, change, and then project our next wound. There's always another wound. There's always something more to learn. Yay us.
And this was all part and parcel of what only appeared to me to be the case after many years, that on issue after issue after issue, family lifestyle choice, multiculturalism, deep green environmentalism, moral relativism.
All relationships. Women, they've done, global studies that women focus on relationships, men focus on things. And this is true in everything she's bringing up. All about relationships. Just saying. And women are designed to receive money and then spend money. So let's tax everybody else and have them pay for everything. Sounds like a wife at home to me.
Moral and cultural relativism and all those isms, they were all ideologies. And the point about an ideology is that the idea is sacrosanct. Nothing can get in the way of the idea.
That is true. And that's what people think progress is. That have an idea, see if it works, like trans kids. That is not progress. That is not why we're here. We're here to acknowledge that we're a soul having a human experience, open our heart, open our soul, and unveil all the wisdom and knowledge that's housed in every soul, which is the same wisdom and knowledge that's everywhere in the universe. I'm made in the image of God because the structure in my soul is the same structure of what we call God.
First thing. And the second thing is that all these ideologies were utopian. They were all predicated on a belief basically in the perfection of the world. So multiculturalism would eradicate prejudice from the human heart.
So like Carl Jung says, one does not become enlightened by imagining beings of light, which is what she just talked about, ideologies. One does not become enlightened by imagining beings of light, but by making their darkness conscious. by acknowledging that you have wounds, that this is inverted wisdom. To say, oh, we don't like what the science says, so we're just going to change it so we feel good. That's a wound. That's not wisdom. That's not knowledge. That's not healthy. It's manipulation. It's control for personal gain. That's not healthy.
Completely. It would stop war. It would stop conflict. Lifestyle choice would eradicate bigotry and the bigotry over differences in people's lifestyles.
And when you have a traumatic childhood, you like disconnect from yourself. I know because I did, and you dream everything. I remember I was in 8th grade and I did a beauty pageant, and they said, well, the question, oh, peace on earth, right? Because when we're not connected to our heart closes down, all we have left is our brain and our ideas. I mean, that's why they spend so much time in their ideas, in this utopia that's not grounded in reality, because they're not grounded in their body, in their healthy femininity. So they can go, oh, what is a healthy woman? Like, we're still having this debate. Like, how am I talking on the internet on YouTube and we still don't know what a healthy woman and a healthy man is? I mean, we think we've made progress and we're still arguing that point. How much progress have we really made when we can't even articulate what is a healthy woman? I mean, it's all over YouTube. You can, countless videos on whatever or other dating podcasts. You ask the women, what do men do? They provide and protect. And men too. Oh, they provide and protect. What do women do? Oh, whatever they want, whatever. Oh, we were abusing them. As if women weren't part of it. As if women aren't the emotional center, as if the patriarchy isn't emotionally unhealthy men. Well, why are they emotionally unhealthy? Oh, the women. Okay? We're in this together. Together we are in this. And when we think we're that we're fighting, like, how much progress have we made? We can't even acknowledge that men and women are complementary. How much progress? Like, really? How can we say we've done something when the most basic is still. But I'll answer that we'll get into that after.
So no longer would people look down on people who were divorced or single parents and all that kind of thing. They were all utopian. Deep green environmentalism was about saving the planet from frying and just being destroyed completely. So anyone who disagreed with these ideologies, anyone who said, well, actually, the evidence shows this is wrong, factually wrong, that couldn't happen because the ideology couldn't be gainsaid. And because these ideologies were all to do with the perfection of the world, anyone who spoke against them was not simply wrong, they were evil.
Yes. We live in a holographic universe, so everything is a projection. And so if you don't align with me and my ideas, my heart is closed. I'm a woman in my logic all day long because I'm busy protecting myself in my masculine, which is provide and protect from my childhood trauma. See how I was set up with that? So I was set up to be in my left brain and have all these ideas before I healed over the past 10 years and grounded into my healthy feminine self. We got quite the conundrum here.
And it couldn't be said because it was such an evil thing. And so you found that evidence became politicized. It became called right-wing, ultra-right-wing, and all the rest of those epithets. And it became unsayable. And the people who dared to say it found themselves bullied and ostracized and persecuted and removed from their social, they lost their friends, they lost their professional advancement.
It's cancel culture. It's cancel culture. And people don't understand that we live in a holographic universe and accept it and then approach life from that perspective. Then they think things outside of them didn't come from them and that we can just cancel it, wipe it away, and that my inside's going to be great. It's a short-term solution to a long-term problem, and it creates a lot of long-term downstream negative impacts because we don't hold people accountable to being healthy, grown adults who can accept reality. Just because women want to have the choice to get divorced doesn't make it healthy. Just because women want to be able to have casual sex and then kill the child whenever they want doesn't make it healthy in a mature decision. The mature decision is teach your daughters to close their legs and open their hearts to attract in a healthy man. That's what's good.
They were threatened with their jobs, some of them lost their jobs, and so you have the situation we have today. And the reason I wrote that book, The Guardian Angel, was because what had happened to me in my professional life, when I started out, I worked for nearly 20 years for Guardian newspapers, the very heart of this liberal universalist ideological perspective. And what happened to me over that period was as I fell foul of that world very badly. But what happened to me seemed to me to illustrate what had happened to the West, what happened to Britain and to the West. And so through the story of what happened to me issue by issue, I could actually tell a bigger story of what happened to us in the West.
Right. And what happened in Europe, their gross domestic product over the past 25 years has been cut in half. Right? Because they're so busy taxing and regulating and controlling, because that's what happens when you put a woman in her left brain. It's not healthy. And women spend other people's money. So give us all that money, and then we're going to take care of all these problems. It's like forced philanthropy. But why are they doing it? They are not healthy feminine women. They're not healthy. So let's do a deeper dive into what is a holographic universe? How does this work? And if you're in this situation where, you're constantly seeing, well, they're racist and they're this and they're that, and you don't understand how that's operating, well, I'm going to tell you what that is. And the racism and the transphobia, that's all in you, and you're covering it by supporting those communities. When you see selfishness, racism, evil outside of yourself, that is your soul showing you that that's also in yourself based on the laws of physics. Okay, so let me bring up, I got to bring up my presentation here. I don't have it ready. I didn't know where the conversation was totally going to go. So now that I do, I can share. Okay, here we go. This is a good one to help us understand. Okay, there it is. Okay, so what I have here on the left, the map of consciousness by Dr. David R. Hawkins, based on the laws of physics. We have all of our emotions, including enlightenment, which is an emotion. And that shocked me because I have a master's degree in East Asian religious studies and I've lived in Chinese Buddhist monasteries. I mean, I met the Karmapa. He's like one below the Dalai Lama in Tibet when he was 7 years old. I did a few things, right? So when I experienced enlightenment for the first time, I had to research it, and that's when I found the map of consciousness. I'm like, oh, it's an expression of the soul. And our souls express themselves through emotions. So that makes sense, heart and soul, right? The soul comes out the heart, which they've proven now because the heart is a vortex. So we have emotions in our soul, and all these emotions are how we feel about ourselves. And we come out of our hearts, we project them externally so we can see ourselves as a constant feedback loop for self-improvement. It says it right here. The universe is a mirror, showing me myself at every moment as a constant feedback loop for self-improvement. That's the wisdom. Knowledge says we attract what we are through energetic resonance, meaning a vibrational match. And this experiment I'm going to show you in a second shows that. When the wisdom and knowledge align, they're born of the same universal truth. It's the structure of the universe, like 1 + 1 = 2. So all of our emotions vibrate at different frequencies. So these deeper, denser emotions, shame, guilt, apathy, grief, they are necessary for us to experience ourselves. And usually that's what we project externally first to bring a wound or bring something out of our shadow, out of our subconscious, because our soul has planned for us to place that in our conscious, making your darkness conscious, like Carl Jung said, right? And so when we don't know how to process our emotions, the whole world seems like shame, guilt, and fear. And then we start imagining utopia, right? Seems logical. Hearts closed down. So we're up here all day long, and then we're trying to, project from our brain, but it doesn't, the holographic universe functions with the heart and the soul, and the fact that the heart is a vortex. That's the way the muscles move. So when these emotions, when shame, guilt, and fear come out of us, and we have a lack of consciousness, we don't understand how that we're a soul having a human experience and how that works. We just perceive that of being outside of us, and it's not us. I mean, look at The View, the show on The View, constantly. You're a racist, you're a transphobe. I mean, it's all over the place in liberal media. But really, they're just talking about themselves. Okay, so let's look at this science experiment. So what happens, and this is going to show, so when, let's say that selfishness inside of me vibrates at 40 hertz. So when I project that out of my heart, it will look to align with other 40 hertz. Like Rumi said, what you seek seeks you, which quantum physics has proven is true. So when my 40 hertz moves, the other 40 hertz will move, because you'll see in a second. And then that's how I can see myself and go, oh, how have I been selfish? That's wisdom. That's a mature, healthy adult. An immature adult, you're selfish, you're racist. Virtue signaling all day long. So let's watch this video. So when it's 5, no recognition that anything else is even there. They're in their own different realities. But when you have 440 and 440, the other moves. That draws your attention and your perception. And they, oh, but if I don't have the 40 hertz of selfishness inside of me, then my attention won't be pulled when someone else is selfish. Oh, whatever, just do something else. But when I have a lot of selfishness inside of me, then I get attracted to selfishness outside of me to see myself. Like my older daughter. I told you I almost died when she was an infant. And last year, she was getting really upset that mothers were being taken from daughters in the ICE raids. And she's crying over it. I'm like, well, you know, the universe is a mirror. Why are you so emotionally invested in illegal aliens? Well, the mom was, yeah. And do you have a wound like that? Oh. So we're attracted to things outside of us to see ourselves. Fascinating. Okay. So let me pull up. Oh, I gotta find it. The heart is vortex. I love this video. It's so fascinating the way he describes it, that the heart is a vortex. I'm like, wow. When I found that, I was just, thank you. It just really, really helped me. Okay, let me share my screen.
Let me just read this because I think it's actually probably one of the best descriptions of the heart that I've ever run across. They taught you the heart was just a glorified meat pump, that it squeezes and pushes blood like some crude mechanical device, a hydraulic engine made of flesh. That is what they want you to believe, because if you buy into that primitive lie, you never ask deeper questions.
Right. So if they can control you with a lie, then then they can control you, and that's the point of having an external locus of control. When you have an external locus of control, then you're subservient. Like that's an ideology. Like, oh, communism. Okay, well I have to do this. I have to do. That's not progress. That's the falsehood. That's the lie. But if we teach people that your heart is a vortex, like a black hole, and your soul is that powerful, how easily can we control people? Just saying.
But it is false. It has always been false. And the real science proves it. Dr. Francesco Torrenguas, a Spanish cardiac researcher, discovered what the textbooks refuse to acknowledge, that the heart is not a pump. He dissected thousands of hearts and found that the heart is a single continuous muscle band folded into a spiral. He proved that the heart works like a vortex generator, creating suction and torque, not pressure. He called it the helical ventricular myocardial band, and it changes everything. The real movement of the blood comes from pressure differentials, electromagnetic flow, and coherent resonance.
Like Tesla always said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration. And now we understand that blood flows based on those principles and not the heart. The heart, the torque that helps the spiral process. But the spiral process, as we'll learn in a second, was there before a heart was even formed in a fetus.
The blood spirals naturally. It need not be forced through miles of arteries and capillaries.
The field is the sole governing agency of the particle. Go on.
The so-called pump is not strong enough to push thick fluid through 60,000 miles of tubing. That is basic physics. That lie was dead on arrival. Here is the truth. Blood moves before the heart forms in the embryo. That is, by the way, a documented fact. It flows via frequency, resonance, and electric charge. The body is a field, not a factory. Your heart creates a toroidal electromagnetic field that radiates 6 meters from the body. This field syncs with the earth, the sun, and every living being around you.
So we are designed for connection, for relationship. Okay, we're designed to work together. We're not designed to call each other racist. That's what we're designed for. I'm designed to see my own racism, but that's not a healthy person.
It is a resonator, a tuner, a conductor. It aligns the rhythm of your cells. It feels, it remembers, it emits, and it responds to emotion, thought, light, sound, and breath. When you feel love, grief, fear, or peace, your heart transmits it. It is the central frequency modulator of your biology, not a pump. And the institutions know this. The Heart Math Institute has measured these fields for decades. They know the heart has more neuronal cells than parts of the brain.
Like I said, the neurological structure in the heart is far more complex than the brain, and the heart sends far more signals than the brain the other way around. Well, emotion's feminine. Masculine, and the brain is, actions, logic, right? So the feminine communicates, and then the brain acts. Feminine communicates, masculine acts.
They know it is a second brain. They know coherence in the heart transforms the entire nervous system. So why are they still teaching children a 400-year-old guess from William Harvey that has never been updated?
Excellent question. I would say it's control, and we live in a Christian worldview. God says we act, but that's subservient. Christianity, there were, the Christianity that was created in the 4th century in the Council of Nicaea was not what the early Christians were practicing. Early Christians were living in communes, practicing self-love, focusing on inner authority. But with the rise of the nation state in Europe, those two systems didn't get along very well. So they created a Christianity that aligned with the creation of nation states. And there's the external control. But anyway, I did all of that. I have a free ebook below to teach you how to transform your wounds into wisdom. And everyone has wounds. Everyone has room to improve. We're here to see ourselves and improve ourselves. That's the only reason we're here. So please check out my free ebook below. You can also find me on my website. I have client services, but mostly I do YouTube videos. And as the reincarnation of Mary Magdalene, I am experiencing enlightenment a few times a week sometimes. And so I'm very busy with that. But if you need extra help, I do have client services there. But I hope the free ebook will really teach you how to turn your emotional wounds into personal wisdom. I lean on psychology, laws of physics, shamanism, neuroscience, cardiology, like 9 different disciplines, the multidisciplinary approach. And I hope that it speaks to you. Okay, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. Bye.